What's up, guys? This is AJ back at you, and I'm here with my cousin Pete. He's actually out here selling with me in Seattle with Active, and we're just wanted to go over real quick talking about rapport today. Building rapport. Building rapport is so important when you're selling door to door, any kind of selling, but especially door to door. It's a great way to save a sale. It's a great way to build trust between you and the prospect, to get them more likely to trust you and more likely to make the purchase from you. So we just want to talk about some of the ways that we've found is most effective when it comes to building rapport. Pete, what are the things that you found to be the best techniques for building rapport while selling?
I don't know if you guys have read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, but I feel like that's been helping me so much. I've been listening to that book on the way to Hood every day, and what they've really teaching there and go over is just being genuinely interested in the other person. Get them opening up, get them talking about themselves, letting them give you personal information. I think that's key, just so they feel like you're friends now. That way they're more comfortable buying from you, and they're not buying from a complete stranger. You now know their name, you know where they live, you know where they work, you know a little about where they came from. They feel like they know you now, and so they're a lot more comfortable. Even if they're not 100% sold on the service, they might be 100% sold on you, and so they're way more likely to give you the credit card information right up front before they've ever even seen your pickup truck with the product on it. They're trusting you, coming to their door and buying a product from you without ever even seeing it, from just what you've told them.
Yeah, building that trust is just so critical, and it can be super tough. I found, I love what you're talking about with that, building that genuine interest and building that personal connection, so they see you as a person and they feel like you understand them. What is that like? Is there some go-to questions that you're asking, or anything like that when you're coming up to a door?
So I always try to compliment them on their home, and after that I bring up, well, how long have you lived in the home? And almost always a lot of them say 20 years, and I just say, that's awesome. That's about as long as I've been alive. That's a good chunk of time. And then I say, what made you move here? Did you come from out of state? And it brings up more questions that I can ask about them, so then they keep feeding me information about them. And people love talking about themselves. They love someone to talk to, even if they're not talking back. If I just feed them questions, they can just talk about themselves. They love it. Then they get into where they came from, what job they're working at, how they like living out here in Washington, and they just go on, and I keep asking them more questions about themselves. So after just a few minutes, I already know so much about this person, and they feel like they know so much about me, even though they don't know anything about me really. It's just the personal information they give in about themselves. They just feel like we're friends now, and that they really like me. Just questions like homes, where they came from, just personal questions, getting them to open up. Because if you go right onto the door, I've noticed sometimes if you're too quick to ask them a personal question, they might not even want to give that information out to you.
Yeah.
So if you can just introduce yourself, maybe start with getting their name and just kind of showing them what you're doing in the neighborhood. That way you're not a complete stranger. You explain why you stopped by, and then you slowly build into building up questions with them, getting a few things out of them before you just jump into it, jumping down their throat, asking personal questions, because they're not just going to give all that information away for nothing. You got to build some connection right up front. You got to be friendly with them, showing up on their door for a reason.
I've definitely seen that where I ask for someone's name just a little bit too early, and there's that hesitation that still usually will give it to me, but sometimes if you ask it really early, sometimes they'll just be like, okay, bye, and shut the door. But even later on, it's like they give you the name, but there's like that hesitation, and you can tell that they were a little bit uncomfortable with that. So I think, you really do kind of warm up to requesting the information. What I'd love to do to get to that point, to like start actually asking like, what's your name, how long you been in the home, you got the kids in the house, or you got pets. Asking those a little bit more personal questions is, I love just commenting on things in the environment. So like my favorite thing go to is probably the yard. Even if their yard doesn't look great, I'll still be like, it looks really good out here in the yard. I love these shrubs out here. Is this all you? Like, are you taking care of the landscaping? And they'll be like, no, I have a gardener, or it's my wife, or yeah, it's me. But like, regardless, they're always like super flattered that I've complimented them on the landscaping. And then I usually use that as a segue into talking about the aphids or the yard treatments. But then if I can get them talking about their yard, then it's not that far jump to then ask for their name. Start talking about the yard a little bit, and then so I'm sitting there like, yeah, well, I mean, it looks great out here. What was your name again? And I love always asking it that way. What was your name again? Because then it's like, oh, well, they in the back of their heads like, did I already give it to them? You know, they're not sure. But I'll kind of segue into that, and then once you have your name, the name, it makes it so much more powerful. You were talking about like using people's names. Yeah,
it's so key to be able, before I drop price on them sometimes, or before I want to show them something, I just say their name. I look at them. It's like, I don't know what it is with people, but that's probably the most beautiful sound in the world to hear, is their name. They love hearing it, and so as soon as you say their name, they want to look at you and give you their attention, and you go right into something, a key point in your service, telling them the price. That way they're even more comfortable after you've said their name, because then you're on a name by name basis with them, and it's just, they're willing to listen to you after you say their name. I feel like they give me that attention that I want them to give me, so I can really show them what I'm out here doing, and that way they're actually more interested in it. And they feel like they're comfortable with me, and now they now that we're friends, they don't want to be rude and shut the door anymore. Even if they don't end up buying, they'll hear you out, and you have the potential to get through, to show all the value of your service, and you might end up selling them. It just gives you a better chance of it. Once you build that friendship, they're not going to slam the door on you after they just talk to you for 10 minutes about themselves. At least I've never had that happen yet. Where after I get all that information, they might at the end just say, they might say like, I don't want to buy it right now. But they'll even say like, I loved talking to you. I really enjoyed talking with you. And maybe they'll get my phone number, and they'll probably never call to get a service, but no time have they slammed the door on me and been mad about it. They've enjoyed talking with me, and I know a lot of times they've been iffy on the service, and I've been able to build that rapport with them, talk with them about them, and if they ask me any questions, I give them some answers, but I really try to turn it back around and have them talk about themselves, because I don't want to go on talking about myself, because then they're going to lose interest usually. So if you talk about them, they're going to open up to you, and I've had it a few times where they weren't interested in the service. After I went through my whole pitch, I started talking about them, getting them to open up, and they ended up buying from me. I had to price drop quite a few of them, because to them the value wasn't quite there for the service, but I was still able to sell them on the service, as well as them being friends with me. I feel like they didn't want to turn me down. I feel like maybe that was it. Yeah. They felt like, well, he's my friend now. I got to buy from him now.
I got to take care of him. Yeah. Take care of my friend. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's so key with building that relationship and getting them to see you, and that you're talking about getting them to talk about themselves. Yeah. I found that sometimes even if they don't buy from you, like you said, they're usually really nice about rejecting you, and so they'll end up just being really nice, even if they're not going to buy. Like, it's not a good time, but like, it's so great to talk to you. But I found that even those conversations, even though it doesn't lead to a sale, oftentimes they're so positive, and that interaction is so positive that it gives me momentum for those next doors. Yep. Because it's like, okay, well, you gotta get a vibe that the neighborhood is okay with me being there. They like that I'm there, just that guy didn't buy, but he was super nice to me. And so then I'm like, okay, well, I just got to find the next door that is going to actually want the service, but I'm no longer as worried about getting someone really unhappy with me being there, because I have that good vibe from that one guy. Yeah, so it's like there's an upside that carries over to those future doors.
Yeah, I've noticed that. So like I'll go to a door. With door-to-door, you have to be able to just roll over the nose, and you can't take it personally. But I do notice when they slam the door, it's not a great feeling, but I usually just move on to the next door, try not to feel anything about it, and I know the next door is going to be different. But it does help after you just sat with someone. Maybe they didn't buy from you. You might have spent 20 minutes, 30 minutes talking with them, but you feel great. You just had a great conversation with someone. You learned a lot of things about someone. It's fun to be able to just have a conversation with someone that you would have never have met unless you just knocked on their door that day. Mm-hmm. So you build a friendship there. You'll probably never see the person again, most likely, but it was still a fun conversation. It gets you going, gets you excited, happy, and I feel better about it. I just made their day probably. A lot of these, especially when it's an older person, they usually don't even get people come into their home a lot of times. So I've noticed on a lot of older people, when I knock on their door, they don't even want me to walk away. Yeah. Like as soon as
keep talking to you. Yeah.
I had one old guy, he's probably in his 70s, and I knocked on his door. He was grumpy, was not happy I was there. I introduced myself. I kind of opened it up a little bit, but I used those techniques of asking questions about himself, and he would not stop going on and on about how he loves skiing, how he's remodeling his house, all these things. And every time I tried to hint I'm ready to go, it's been 40 minutes. I got to move on to the next door. I love talking to the people, but I still got to make some money. So
right, you also got to conserve your time and
exactly. So I said 40 minutes there. It was fun talking to them, but every time I'd step away, he kept trying to talk to me. So it really just shows you, if you build that rapport with some of these people, that they feel so much more comfortable with you. Yeah. So at first he was not happy I showed up on his door. But by the end of it, he didn't want me to leave. Yeah. He wanted me to stay there and keep talking with him. So really, I feel like not everyone. You don't have to build rapport with everyone. Yeah. You can sell someone that if they're sold on the service, you might never have to bring anything up. Maybe while you're filling out the information. I know on some of them, I've gone through my service. They were all for it. I didn't even have to price drop, nothing like that. And then through the service, try to build a relationship because they're going to be using my services. I try to build a rapport there as well, but on some of them it's key, but on others you don't always need it, I feel like. But it's still good even after they've committed to it, to build rapport, to make them feel like they made a good decision.
Absolutely.
And especially before you ask for their credit card information, if you've done or showed them what you're going to do for them, and then built a little bit of a friendship there before you get their credit card information.
Well, generally, that building the relationship even after you've already made the sale can really help you to retain those sales, because they're less likely to cancel if they know that it's going to affect you personally, and you built a relationship with them. So, I definitely do that. And I feel like on more of my sales than not to kind of push until the end. I'll be real professional in the front end, and just sort of matter of fact, here's what I'm doing, here's why I'm here, here's the discount, let's get it done. And I do, if I'm starting to feel like I lose the sale, then I generally will go more into rapport. But if I don't, if they're showing interest, I'm not going to sidetrack what I'm talking about, and so I'm going to push right through and start filling out the information. At that point is when I start building a little bit more rapport with them, because I am starting to think about, okay, I've made this sale, it's going through, but how do I make sure when we do get down to the bottom and I'm about to ask for their card information or a voided check for payment, they're going to be happy to give that to me, but also what's going to keep them from canceling with me later down the road? I want them to remember that conversation as being positive and pleasant, and then think, oh man, well, I don't know if I need this right now, but I'm not going to cancel because he was a nice guy, and I don't want to mess things up for him.
So he's going to give you that year shot that you said.
Yeah, I'm going to carry through, give him the whole year to the shot on the year. So yeah, I think this is great. Hopefully that's some good information for you guys and is helpful when you're out there on the doors when it comes to building rapport. And yeah, anything else to add, Pete?
No, I think that's some good info. We'll end up throwing some more videos out there on maybe more in depth on some of these topics. It's just such a broad topic. It's hard to cover it in just one single video. But the key is just build rapport. Build a friendship there, and as well as trying to sell them. And I think it'll help you guys turn more knocks into sales.
Absolutely.
And it could be more than just door to door. It can be just in anything, any type of sales job, any relationship. Just building rapport is key.
Absolutely. There's that balance between how much time you want to spend and then how much of a relationship you want to build. I think you can be fast and concise and efficient and still build that relationship if you're asking the right questions and showing genuine interest. So, all right. You guys have a great rest of your day.
Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys.